How's it going, everyone? I'm back. It's been a while. Got a bunch of videos I'm trying to work on. I'm just kind of running into some technical difficulties with my computer being slow and all that jazz. But today I'm going to be posting a different type of video than I usually do, sort of. I've opened a new business called Walker's Off-Road Customs. It's kind of been geared more towards mobile repair and maintenance as I'm getting into the off-road stuff. I've had a few customers, but today we're heading out to a Wrangler that's had a clicking noise in the rear. They can't figure it out. It was rear-ended in the driver's rear tire area, I believe earlier this year. And we're gonna head over and jack it up, check it out, possibly pull it partially apart and see if I can find anything, or see if we can find out if the rear axle housing has been bent from that accident. I believe it is a Dana 35 in the rear of this Wrangler, so they're not too strong to begin with, but we're gonna go and check it out. All right, we're here. This is it. Put a motor in this thing end of last year, but there's a clicking sound coming from, I actually believe it was the passenger rear. I thought I said driver's rear, but I could be wrong. We're gonna jack it up, check it out. I just put an angle finder on there just to make sure it wasn't bent, and it doesn't look like it. So we'll jack it up and see what we got. So it looks like it might be a wasted bearing that they're hearing on the passenger rear. I'm gonna pull it apart, but there's a lot of back and forth. I don't know if that's necessarily it, but that's where we're gonna start. So I pulled the rear wheel off. First off, it's missing some hardware for the brake pads, and it's hard to tell, but there's a lot of heavy metal particles all down in around the seal there. The seal's leaking. Everything else is coated in just like regular brake dust, it looks like. And then I pulled the drain plug out, and it's real hard to see. Let me see if I can find. I just put my magnet somewhere in here. But I wiped most of it up already, but I can move I can move the differential fluid with the magnet. So I'm gonna go ahead, recommend that my buddy puts a rear axle assembly in this. Like I said, it was rear-ended. These aren't that strong. He'd recently put a lift on here, it looks like, but if he finds a couple of matching sets, or if he just wants to get one rear axle from like a junkyard, I'll go over it and throw it in here. All right, so I pulled both sides apart, put them back together. As crappy as the rear axle might be on this, I think most of the noise was from the missing hardware on that brake pad on that side, the slide for it. So I'm gonna see if I can pick up a set of those, throw that on there, and see if it gets rid of the clicking noise. But he definitely needs to keep an eye on the rear axle on this thing. I've had concerns since he got in the accident that it was bent, but we'll see if this keeps him moving for now. Might be a little loud, but you can see the rotor slides rocking on that. Another thing that tells you at least the rotor's warped, but if you look at the tire, the tires walking, and you can sort of just see it right near the exhaust. It's going to be a little worried. Yeah, that's concerning considering the noises it's making, both bearings being shot metal in the rear diff. I definitely think this needs a rear axle, and if he didn't replace his rim on this side that it got hit, which it doesn't look like it, he's probably gonna have to do that too. We're gonna go take her for a proper rip around the block. And see if we hear any noises in this thing. I actually really like this kid's two-door Jeep that he has. Dad, do we get parked in here? We're gonna go out between my truck and the curb. That's F-250. Alright, and we're off. Hopefully, let me slide this over. There you go. I'll also give the owner a call to verify a few things, let him know what's happening. But just for boogieing around, as soon as I get on the brakes, I can hear the skirt, 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 skirt. Sounds like it's just brake hardware. So I'd like to see him, you know, spend a couple bucks, get rid of the noise he's worried about. But I think sooner or later he's definitely going to have to address. I don't know if you can hear that over this seatbelt chime. Give me 1 second. Might actually be the guy calling me now. Negative. Spam call. Yeah, I'm gonna have them get a new set of those pad slides that go inside of the bracket, and we'll start there as far as his noise concerned. But this thing definitely has some other problems. All right, so yeah, it was a quick one, just a diag this morning. I'm gonna wait for the owner he wants to source his own rear axle. I just got off the phone with him. I gave him the option he can run it the way it is and just fix the noise, which was his complaint, but sooner or later he's going to get leaks, worn parts, all that good jazz that comes with it. And he opted to just decide to handle the problem now while he can, especially since it's his kid's car, and he's going to source them. So we'll wait for a phone call back, and I'll have him bring it to me. That way we can make the swap. All right, so we're back here with my buddy's Wrangler that we had the bad rear diff on. We're gonna get under here. I'm back today to double check the gear ratio to make sure it has 373s like the VIN number says. So just gonna add the car neutral. And we just kind of rotate this pinion around. One turn of the pinion, 1, 2. Still in the line that I put on the rotor. Coming around 2, 3. Alright, so I marked both wheels. I put a marker mark on this one, tape on that one, because I didn't feel like peeling the tape with my gloves. All said and done, we're right about here. We were down here. So it's just about, if I were to go the rest of the way, it's pretty much, it is a 373 like I thought. All right, so yeah, it's been a minute since we saw that Wrangler, but we sourced a used rear Dana 44 which is not common for a Sport, and it has 373s instead of 410s. I found a couple options for front and rear diffs that are both Dana 44s with 410s and lockers to upgrade, but he wasn't looking to spend the $4 or $5 grand that they're going for in our area. So I found a Dana 44 with 373s and no locker about 2 hours away for I think $500 at some Jeep you pull it places guy, you know, I guess just pulls apart Wranglers and parts them out. So I wanted to just verify that it had 373s. That's what the VIN said, but I didn't want to get caught with the wrong gear ratio after we already drove 2 hours. So we went and verified it, reached back out to the customer, make sure he wants to get it, and we'll try and get out there and source that rear diff for him. We'll prep it, paint it, install it. All right, so it's a couple days later since I've checked that gear ratio, and I have finally hooked up with somebody who has the rear diff, and we're on our way to pick it up. So we'll get there, check it out, load it up. It's about an hour and a half from where I'm at, and then hopefully either today or the next day I can get it cleaned up and get it painted, as long as the weather holds out, or if I can get somewhere to let it sit while it dries. So I'll show it to you when I get there. All right, we're back. Let's try this again. I just had 2 batteries die on me. Got the rear axle is on the trailer. I already started pulling some of the parts off. We're gonna strip off the control arms, the calipers, the rest of that drive shaft, and we got a broken wheel stud I gotta knock out. I'm gonna flip this back over once it's all stripped down, run it to a local pressure washer place, like a car wash place, blast some of the grease off of this thing, and get to cleaning it up so we can get it painted, so we can get it ready for this customer. We're going to be putting, the customer just put new brakes on there, so we're going to put their rotors on there, their parking brake stuff. I might pick up a pinion seal because that looks like it's leaking, and then I got to get RTV, gear oil, all that jazz to get this thing going. We got it all cleaned up, rotors off, degreased. I gotta punch out the wheel stud right here, start getting some paint on it. Hoping tomorrow the customer will have the Jeep here. He's gonna bring it over, and we're gonna swap this thing in and get it back on the road. All right, so it's the next day, and it's raining outside. So we're using the neighbor's garage. It's where I keep my toolboxes and everything anyway. So we are going to start yanking this back axle out. I already got it up on jack stands. The replacement's painted. I got 2 coats of flat. I was gonna do a coat of gloss to make it look nice, but it started raining overnight. So yeah, we're gonna get after this. I got a few new mounts. I have an adjustable clamp arm and a magnetic mount. So hopefully we get some better views while I'm working on this thing. So real quick, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the to get this dropped out, we're gonna unclip ABS wiring, control arms, shocks, end links. I'm gonna undo the caliper and just kind of hang it up on the frame. Track bar, drive shaft underneath. That should be pretty much everything. Park and brake cable also. I'm gonna go get some better lighting and we'll get after it. Alright, so as I'm getting everything undone, pretty much everything's off except for the control arms. One thing I didn't think about, if you have bump stop extensions on the axle side, you need to take them out before you get the axle up. I was going to just do it after, but there's some bolt interclearance, so it just looks like it's 2 bolts and 2 bolts on the other side. They'll both pop off, and then I can continue on with what I'm doing. So if you just saw back axles out, I'm doing it by myself, so I just let everything that was up there kind of fall. Sort of kind of didn't think about it falling because the pinion wasn't supported, but I'm gonna get it on the hand dolly, wheel it across the street to the other one, and start swapping over brake parts. They just put newer brakes. They're kind of rusty just from sitting, but they have new brakes, new parking brakes, all that hardware. I'm gonna swap that over. I got to get this plate off. That's that bump stop extension. The bolts broke on the other side, so I'm just going to see if I can break the last bolt, and I'll just get new hardware for that. It's just nut and bolted, so I can just swap them out. And then once we get everything swapped over, we'll get the new one over here and get it back in. All right, so new axle assembled, cover resealed. Old axle's over there. I still have to get off the bump stop risers, but for now I'm just going to get this axle across the street so I can start getting it bolted in, at least make it a roller in case I got to get it out of my neighbor's garage. I can always bolt those on later. So now I got to manhandle this thing off onto the hand truck and across the street. All right, rear axle is under there, so we're going to reverse the steps. I'm going to jack it up, get the coil spring in, put the upper control arm back in, just start hooking everything back up as it goes up, and get the wheels on, get the drive shaft on, so we can get this thing back on the road. All right, she's in, it's on the ground, tires on. I gotta clean up some tools. I'm gonna go get my kids off the bus, and then I'll be back to take it for a test drive. All right, that's a wrap on the Wrangler. The rear axle's under there. Took it for a drive. Everything is good to go. I'm gonna boogie it around for a couple of days just to make sure. He also has a front end noise, which is just wasted bushings. This end link is clanking around in there. I don't know if it's just the hardware or the style that it is, and that sway bar bushing is trashed. And so is that one. You can pretty much see it pushed out. So we're just gonna put those on, or at least get them pricing, and yeah, on Walker's Off-Road Customs. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Keep an eye out for the next one.